Bella and I, we have made some progress together in the intervening weeks since the first series of little video clips. So what's positive? Well, positive is she just wanders out the stables. She stands better for me to get on and put my foot in the stirrup, providing I'm very quiet and don't move about too much on the saddle, and I'm very careful how I get my foot in the stirrup on the offside. And she no longer grabs at the reins and is shooting backwards less. Her trot feels much more defined. I still haven't got the jog, at least not intentionally. On the way home she can jog, although that's sort of ending now. But today horses, although I have to be consistent with her, she's not yet consistent with me, so I'm not sure what sort of ride we're going to get today, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's worth discussing. So her head is, she's straighter, although there's still loads of work to do there. It isn't trying to turn round, as you can see. She's not, here are the reins, she's completely got her head. She's not trying to turn round back for home nearly as much as she used to. So by directing her feet, she's getting much more confidence that I can be relied on to look after her safety. So as always, the leg is really on her, and she had, she still does a bit, but she used to have a massive problem with the legs. And in her mind, legs meant one thing. As soon as she felt them or thought she was going to feel them, she wanted to run off, because she thought they meant go faster. So if I say to her, whoa, whoa, she stands. She doesn't try and pull the reins through the hand. She doesn't try and walk off on the way out. It's a little bit different on the way back, but you've got to start, where they're happy to start. So on the way out, she's standing. She's not trying to turn around and come home. So yeah, she's now in the place where she'll consider what's around her to look at rather than to try and run off back home. So that's really good, really good. So we'll walk on again now. And I've arrived at this place with Bella through, shall we say, keeping her on the move. And by keeping her on the move, it's actually quietening her down, as you can see, in comparison to what she was like before. I mean, the set of her head and neck, everything is just more relaxed. And the head is coming down. I mean, would be unthinkable for her to put her head down. So by keeping her on the move and keeping her going in trot and canter wherever I can, is actually having the desired effect, which is to make her think about how she expends her energy. Because horses, if they're not anxious, are all about conserving their energy, not sort of just needlessly, mindlessly expending it. So not only does making them trot and canter, this type of little mare, not only does it get rid of her anxiety, because you're riding forward and you're going somewhere and you're passing things that perhaps they didn't like, but also she begins to think to herself, well, I know what's involved here, lots and lots of activity. Well, I think I might take it easy while I can. So once we get to the bottom of this bridle path, I'll be trotting, so hopefully I'll be trotting from start to finish and walking on the way back if there's any walking to do. So I want to do my talking now. Now, when we come, the bottom of the bridle path is a straight bit, and we start trotting there, and we keep trotting, and then we come up beside a big hedge, and in the big hedge there's a little gateway, and off to the left is like an open field, and for whatever reason horses like to shy at that gateway, and Bella is no exception. So every time she comes along here she shies at the gateway, and of course then it begets to be a habit. And although I like to feel that, you know, I've got that left shoulder, I haven't entirely, because she goes off to the left. And the first time it was a huge jump to the left. The second and third times not so much of a jump to the left, but what she used to do when she found she couldn't jump to the left very far, she'd sort of get confused, and then she'd start her old habits, which is to chuck her back legs to the left and shoot backwards. Well, interestingly, she's doing that far less now. So it'd be interesting to see if she shies at the gateway, but she will probably stop and think about what she's doing, and hopefully will go forward again without going backwards and throwing her legs to the left. So eventually, well, I'll get her out of that little shying thing, but that is her shying spot. And if the dogs are out, then it makes it that much more difficult, because they rush up and down inside the hedge and terrify the animals in that particular spot. It's funny where they can meet dogs in other spots and not be frightened, but when they see dogs in this spot, they're always frightened. So yes, as soon as we get round this corner, I'll be trotting. I'll be asking Bella to trot. So I'm still giving her the confidence. I'm still riding her as I'm speaking. Possibly not as much as if I wasn't speaking, but hopefully enough as she feels I'm with her. And now we're going to start the trotting. And I probably will break this clip down into parts, because there is an awful lot of trotting. It goes on forever. The trot feels much nicer, it's softer, it's got more definition. We've got a duck here. And we come up here. And this gate is up here, so I've got my left leg here, my left hand into the neck. I'm going to see if we can not do this shy. Oh, good girl. Well, that is a first. Good girl. Right, around here. Right. Now comes the long trot. I don't have to hold the reins, I don't have to hold her in a frame as much, because she's not wanting to go, she's not wanting to shoot off everywhere. So my reins can be a lot looser. She's got much more freedom. I haven't got to contain her impulsion. The trot's got rhythm most of the time. And she knows that it's a really long trot. So she'll be busy trying to conserve her energy. I don't know what it's sounding like. I won't know till I play it back. But her trot feels so much nicer. Lots of pheasants everywhere. They've started to shoot this year, which is not very nice, but the horses have to hear all these guns. But yes, it's a nice soft rhythm with the trot. The head sometimes tries to come round, but with my legs there all the time, it definitely helps her. So even going downhill like this, she's holding herself in a rhythm. Her head's down, but the trot stays the same, and she's relatively straight. She's not so frightened of the leg, and as time goes by she'll be less frightened of it, and then you can really start to ride her. But a good way, and the best way for them to not be frightened of the leg, is for them to feel the leg. If they don't feel it, you can't stop them from running on from it. Horses that run on from the leg are just always ahead of the rider. You really want them on the leg or to the leg. And so that's where I want Bella to be. She's my second horse today. I'll be able to have some lunch when I get back. You have to be quite fit for this, because there's no point just going for a little tootle around the block. Never get them trained that way. So yes, it's the age-old challenge, how to build that partnership in the saddle that you've been building on the ground. And really although there's a lot involved, it's as simple as controlling the horse's feet when you're on top. And that's what I've been doing with Bella.